Right, welcome everyone. This is a video guide for lab tutorial 4, which is stated as lab 4 in the lab sections. The lab 4 handout in the lab sections in Moodle. Alright, so let's just go through this very quickly. Alright, so in this one, we're going to learn how to do patch modeling using NURBS surfaces. We're going to learn about all these surfaces tools, surface creation tools in Maya, and the first one is going to be Revolve, right? Right, the idea of Revolve is you take a curve, and we're going to build that curve later, looking at this thing here. We're going to build a curve that defines the half of the profile of the object that we're trying to create the surface. It needs to be a flat curve, and therefore you need to use one of the orthographic views. What we mean by that is, so if you have Maya and you're looking at the perspective view here, you don't want to use the perspective view. You want to use one of these ones here, the top, front, or side. In this case, it's much easier to use a side view. So I'm going to press spacebar here, and this will maximize the side view, side X view. Alright, now again, the idea is we want to build up our half of the profile, and the idea is we're going to spin that curve around, which gives us that surface, that vase, for instance here. Right, so for that we're going to get one of the curve tools here under create curve tools. I like to use a CV curve tool, so I'm going to use this, and for the remainder of my tutorials I'm going to use the CV curve tool. Right, so we have the CV curve tool, and sometimes I will use snap to grids. You'll see that snap to grids here, this button here is toggle on and off, and I do that by pressing X on my keyboard. So whenever you see that thing lighting up, that means I'm holding X on my keyboard. So I hold X here and click here so that it snaps to the grid there, and then I'll continue building that curve while still holding X to snap to the grid, and I'm gonna click there and start building my curve. So I need, like, remember, I need like half of a vase, and I'll just continue to do that, and I'm gonna build something that's a bit different from what we see in the handouts. I'm gonna do this for a start. Alright, that's about okay, and if you're happy with it, although it does look funny, but don't mind, don't bother about that. If you're happy with it, you can press Q or press enter, and the curve will be created for you. Right, you don't have to make it so perfect, even if it looks ugly, because right now I'm looking at this part here, and I'm holding Control Alternate and click and drag using my left mouse button to zoom in. I see that I don't like that, so I can go to my context menu, hold right mouse button, go to Control Vertex, and then I'll select the points that I think could be placed a bit wider apart so that we get a nicer curve happening there, and then you've managed to fix the curve like that. Right, so that's half of my vase here. What I'm going to do next is I will actually use the Revolve. So we select the curve. You want to select the curve so that it's green. Go to surfaces and just simply say Revolve now. Right, so now we have a vase going on here. It's not too bad from down here. It may look a bit different from what we have here, but you'll notice something here, that it's looking all black in here, isn't it? Right, the reason for that, if we go back to our side X view and press 4, and I will select the curve, or try as best as possible to do that. Maybe I'll just go to Windows Outliner and go to the curve, right? So I'm gonna select the curve here. You'll see that my curve is just a simple line. Let me just select this and hide it first. My curve is just a simple line, one line, and what happens is that line is basically being spun around 360, and that's why you have that vase. Now if you don't want that black thing happening, you need to give it some thickness, right? So what I'll do now is I'll just delete everything, or maybe I'll just hide everything now. I will build a new, how did I hide? Okay, I pressed H on my keyboard. Now I will actually build a new curve, and this time around I'm going to do it a bit different. So I go to create curve tools, CV curve tool, and I'll hold X just to snap it to the grid so that it's nice and flat on the surface here. And then I'll keep on building that vase. And remember, we don't really need to be perfect at the very start here. As long as it looks like the curve of half of a vase, that's fine. So let me just complete that, and when I reach there, I'm gonna zoom in a bit by holding Control Alternate there. You'll see that the way I draw my curves, I make it a bit closer, that the points are closer whenever I want it to be well defined, and I make it further apart whenever I need it to be a graceful flowing curve. So let me just build that very quickly, and you'll see that what I'm doing here is I'm kind of tracing the curve again, trying my best to kind of mirror what I see here, and then end it somewhere there where I first started, on that line there, on that vertical line there. And when I'm happy with it, I'll simply hit Q or enter, and then you're committing your curve there. Again, we don't need it to be perfect. We can always right mouse button and go to Control Vertex. If we feel that some points need some tweaking, like this one here, so let's just move that there a bit, and I can go on, but I think I'm kind of happy with this, and I'll say this is okay for my purpose here. Right mouse button, go back to object mode. Alright, we're gonna go to perspective here again, and what we're gonna do is we select that curve, go to surfaces, and just simply revolve. Now let's just look at it again. Now we have a nice vase going on here, and we don't have that blackness going on. What happens is our curve, because we kind of trace it again, the insides, it's spinning around 360, and now we have thickness to the vase. Alright, so in the interest of not making this video too long, I'm gonna leave it here first, and I want you to give it out a try, and I'll see you again in the next video. Alright, see you.